Caregivers' negligence, the danger of patients' abandonment. As we always say, caregiving is not for everyone. If you think it's easy, then you are wrong. People like us who's been doing this job for a long time can honestly say that caregiving is one of the most difficult jobs one could ever have. Being a caregiver has its set of rules and endless responsibilities. You are not just in charge of making someone comfortable, you are also in charge of his physical, emotional, and even spiritual well-being. Our responsibilities don't end in letting them bathe, eat, and sleep. We are also expected to make sure they are safe, prioritized, and protected. Recently, we've seen and received some valid complaints from employers about their caregivers. For some reason, there are caregivers who don't understand the consequences of their reckless behavior. As much as we want to rely on our common sense, there are still some solid rules in caregiving. These regulations are important because the life and well-being of our employers depend on it. Do not leave your employer alone. Your employer hired you for one major reason: it is dangerous for them to be alone. You were hired because your employer needed someone to be with them for all the other reasons that you can think of. He can't walk alone, he can't cook, can't do the laundry, he's in a wheelchair, he's paralyzed, he has Alzheimer's disease, he had hip surgery, etc. Leaving them alone means putting them in danger that may cause a serious problem or even death. Do not leave your employer alone too. Abandoning your employer is not just about leaving the house for a few hours to be with your friends or a few minutes to buy something. Sleeping, bathing, playing with your phone, talking to friends while your employer is awake is also called abandonment and negligence of duty. Your employer needs your undivided attention, especially if they are awake and alert. There is always a time for your personal affairs. You have to manage your time wisely. Do not drink and get drunk while working. We are entitled to a 36-hour weekly rest day. This is enough to go out with friends. But we have to be responsible enough to know that we are not, in any circumstance, allowed to return to work intoxicated. Our job requires mental and physical strength. We are needed with 100% sound mind and body. Alcohol is one of the major causes of accidents and death. To say the least, alcohol is strictly prohibited when you're working with high-risk/accident-prone individuals like the elderly. Do not sleep on the job. This doesn't mean staying awake until the wee hours of the morning because your employer stays awake too. In these instances, you have the right to raise this concern with your employer or his doctor because he might probably need help with insomnia. But, do not sleep on the job means no sleeping in the hours when you are supposed to be working. Again, managing your time correctly will make you a responsible and effective caregiver. Make sure you have a proper rest and sleep at night. Do not mix your job and your personal life. Stress and anxiety are inevitable, especially if you're working abroad, away from your family. Personal problems are normal, but these shouldn't mix with your job. When you decided to work in another country and signed your contract, you are aware of the mental stress and homesickness that most migrant workers feel. But you have a responsibility and a job to do. No matter what happens, you have to set aside whatever you feel, regardless of how stressed and homesick you are. Again, caregiving is not for everyone but the brave, resilient, and responsible individuals. We are health workers. We may not be a nurse or a doctor, but we are the first line of defense. We must know that we are playing an important role in someone else's life. We are here to make sure our employers will have an easy and comfortable life away from any danger that they might do to themselves. Leaving them alone, sleeping in on them, getting drunk, and being useless defeats the purpose of our profession. Caregiving, in all the beauty of it, means no one should be left alone. We are here because we care.